Right, hello, we've got another kit to do. Another Les Paul style kit. Maple veneer on the body and a set neck. This is a Muslady, M-U-S-L-A-D-Y. Bought it from an eBay seller in the UK. Seemed to be plenty in stock and just incredibly cheap for this specification. Delivered next day, it was less than £80. So that's about $100. That is mega cheap for one of these. However, it does have a couple of faults, which I'll cover, but it's significantly better than that Coben one I just did. But there is a couple of things we'll need to do to this guitar to correct it. So we'll have a quick review of the contents. I'd taken it out of the box and had a look at it. Body wise, it's not too bad. You can see it's not a Les Paul actually shape, it's more got the pointed bit, which is more like an ESP style guitar, but it is mahogany-ish wood at the back, and it's got a decent weight to it. Quite nice, no major defects there, just needs a good sanding, good sand round the outside. It's not massively covered in glue like some of these, but there is some glue spots, there is the odd dent, there is a bit that's not flush that will need to be sanded down, but that's fine. On the top, again I can see some little glue spots that we'll need to take out, but if you get one of these, remember this veneer is incredibly thin, it's wafer thin on the top, so don't put a machine or power sander anywhere near it, just use some very fine grade sandpaper. There's a bit of binding that's sitting above the flush there that will need to be scraped down, that's fine, that's easy enough to deal with. And apart from that, it's generally okay, especially in first inspection. Closer inspection, there is a couple of defects that will need to fix. With a veneer, if you run your finger over it, they do sometimes get bubbles. It's just one of these things with veneers, especially a veneer as thin as this, and a maple style. Maple's terrible for lifting. So just run your finger over it and you'll hear, if you listen, I think the camera will pick this up. For up here, it's nice and solid. For up here, it's like paper. There's a bubble below there. So there's a couple of things we can do to try and fix it. I would leave it as it is, but it would probably be noticeable. That's quite a big bubble. There's one down here as well that we've noticed. What I'll do is, first step is to try and heat it just with a domestic iron set in medium. Set a damp rag on it and just steam it to hopefully soften the glue below, and then press it down. I have made just a pad of foam to go on it so as it conforms to the shape, and I'll clamp that in place with a bit of wood over the top to hopefully just put enough pressure on to hold it down and see if we can get that smoothed out. Same with that one there. Failing that, I've got little needles for putting ink and things. That's not why I bought them to do this, but I'll put a wee slit in it and put some wood glue in and then clamp it down again if the iron trick fails. That's the kind of key thing that needs to be done to that. As usual, it's not a bad neck fit, but there's some tidying up needing to be done to the fit. The angle's all correct, but this isn't sitting flush and it needs to go over this way a wee bit. Fortunately, this kit, not got the bridge and tailpiece stop bar pre-drilled, so it means you've got a chance to get the neck in place, find your lines and make sure that's nice and centred. Just check you're not going to go off to the pickups, but that's fine. Neck wise, it's not a bad fit, like I say, just there's a bit of a ridge there, so I'd like the neck to go over a wee bit if possible. And I can see where it's been sanded on the neck, they've overdone it at a part, there's a lip there, so they've taken too much off this face. So we'll take a little bit off of here and then put a veneer on here so as it's got a better fit. The neck itself is not too bad. Mahogany again, one piece to make up the heel, and then it's got a scarf joint. The scarf joint, this one's a better one than the Coben one. This scarf is here rather than the thing they did, which was up there that leaves a line across the headstock. The headstock's been shaped to fashion. The issue with this, if you look closely, I didn't notice it when I first looked at the kit. These holes are okay, but these ones, they've went offline on these two holes. They're far too close to the edge of that, so we're going to have to make up some dowels, plug these holes and re-drill them. So as I was saying, there's a couple of wee bits that need to be done. You can see, especially when you look at the back, the tuner's probably going to overhang this. So we'll need to get them straightened out. It's just went off square. we'll get them, that's that. Inside the kit itself, you get instructions, generic instructions. It covers all the different kits. Not in any detail. It's tiny wee pictures and some tiny little writing in Chinese and English. But it's got the Les Paul kit, Strat kit, Tele kit, Flying V kit, etc. in there. That'll do. It's a wee helper, but there's plenty of videos online to help with these things. Plastics are just standard, really cheap plastic. I'll see what I've got or can get to maybe help out in that front. They're serviceable. Probably the same stuff as that Coburn was, to be honest, but that was dearer than this, and it's not as good a kit, if I'm honest. In your bag of bits, I've had this open to look at some of the bits. I've thrown out the cable that you get. You get your Allen key, a 4mm Allen key, which is for your truss rod. You get a set of strings that I wouldn't bother putting on, but I'll keep them for angling necks, etc. You've got your wiring harness pre-soldered, not with the switch because you need to feed the switch through and then get the cable back through here, so you need to solder on the switch. It's 500k mini pots. The ones with the capacitors on it are your tone controls, the ones without are your volume controls. Pickups, it's your standard PAF style import pickups. Look okay. You get your bridge in your neck. Bridge one's the one with the thicker surround on it. They look alright. They've definitely been waxed because I can see traces of wax on the bottom. I'm probably not going to use these, but they look okay. Just horrible plastic around the outside. They're fine. So you've got them. You've got your control knobs. It's top hat, gold coloured. Nicely individually that so as it don't get scratched. The plastic's easy enough to scratch. Bracket, chrome bracket for scratch plate if you want to put it on. So it's about there. A lot of times you need to cut. If you find it's not going on right, you need to cut. I just use a wee Dremel with a wee cutting disc on to cut down that screw, or it can rest against the wood and damage it, or the pick guard doesn't actually sit square. We've also got in here some screws and your nuts and washers, screws for the pickups and nuts and washers for the pots to go on the outside. You get the box type 3-way switch, perfectly serviceable. I think I've got some Switchcraft style ones, but that's for that bit up there. Tuning pegs, just standard cheap tuners. Got one out you can see, sealed back. I feel alright, I feel a little turn at them and I feel okay. I'll maybe just use these, we'll see. You'll get your rights and your lefts. Remember that when you're putting them on. Screw hole goes to the bottom, so the other sides are there. 3R, 3L. They go in nicely actually, good tight fit. You've also got in here a standard cheapo plastic nut. Horrible looking truss rod cover, scratch plate and cover plate screws. We have our jack plate and jack socket. It's not as bad as some of them actually, that's a bit of a thicker piece of metal and it's actually countersunk as well. We've got our locking, or not locking screws, just our fastening collars for our tuners and washers in there, and strap buttons. That's all normal looking stuff. And then we've got our stop bar and bridge piece. Stop bar actually looks okay, it's got a good weight to it. Chrome's good on it. Probably just use this. It looks fine. That's a scratch on it, it's just some residue on it, but it looks fine. Wrapped up so as it doesn't get scratched. Bridge piece. Wrapped up in what looks like a bookie slip or something. Goodness knows. We'll reuse some paper. Standard bridge. I've got a chrome roller bridge somewhere that I'll stick on it instead of this, which is quite handy that they've not drilled the holes because the roller bridges get different size studs to this. It's got the ABR style studs. So if these had been pre-drilled, they needed to drilled and re-drilled them, so that's quite handy. But that's all good. So, Muslady kit, Les Paul, set neck, maple veneer. Looks as though it's got some quilting to it. Might come up quite nice. We'll do it with stain. You've got to be very careful putting stains on these veneers because you will slacken the glue below it. So I'm going to try with my oil to mix the stain in it. They're both water based, but the stain dries a lot quicker. Sugar. The oil dries a lot quicker than the stain. So I'm going to try and pre-mix it and use that for the top. The backs and sides are fine. That's straight in the mahogany, that doesn't matter. But on the top here you've got to be careful what you're doing or you'll end up lifting the veneer. But I think this might turn it alright. If I can get rid of these bubbles, which is challenge number 1. Challenge number 2 is to make sure the neck's okay. I don't think that'll be too bad. And then there's a wee bit of work involved in re-drilling these holes, but for the sake of 80 quid, my goodness, how do they sell these for these? And people are making profits out of it. Okay, not a lot of profit, and okay, there's the argument about the labour rates and everything, but even at that, I struggle to buy the wood for what they must make this entire kit for. Unbelievable. But that's it. It looks decent enough. I think this will be a decent link guitar once it's done. It's not perfect, like I say, but should be able to do something with it. Anyhow, hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, please drop me a wee like below by pressing the thumbs up button. Hit subscribe if you want to see when I upload new videos. I will do a video diary style on this one as well. And we'll see where we go from there. So, catch you soon. Cheers. Bye now.